What's going on?
Boy, this is raw fish. I'm gonna give this.
I'm the one who gets credit for it. I'm the one who gets credit for it. Let's see if I. Oh, cool. There it goes. That works. All right. Let me go to here. So we get everybody to come up front real quick. Grab your drinks. Grab your beer. Grab your kids. Grab your laptops. Grab your wife. Grab your significant others. Johnny will be serving food all night, and he'll be serving drinks as well all night till about 8:45. So he's not going anywhere. All right. So how many how many people is this your first time to Bitcoin Builders Club? Oh wow, really? Really? Huh, pretty good. How did y'all hear about it? Just yell out. How did y'all hear about Bitcoin Builders Club? Capital Factory. Okay. Are you a Capital Factory member? Okay. How did you hear about it back there? Oh, Pleb Lab. Okay, cool. What's Pleb Lab? We'll get into that too. Um, cool. Okay. Cool. Well, Bitcoin Builders Club is a place for people like yourself, entrepreneurs, builders, hackers, people interested in Bitcoin that want to come learn, showcase what they're building, working on, and get feedback from everybody. At Pleb Lab, we were doing this thing called Hack and Tell. It allowed you to come on Fridays. We would typically have like drinks and food, and then we would just showcase what we were working on for the week. And it was fun. And we wanted to bring that to Capital Factory, the center of entrepreneurship here in Texas or Central Texas. So, real quick, if you guys have parking, if you're parked downtown, it's free after 6 p.m. But if you're parked downtown here at the Omni, you get a ticket for half off. So make sure you find me before you leave to get that ticket, because if not, I will be gone at 9. So that's one thing. The other thing is make sure to scan that QR code if you haven't already, and make sure to sign up for Luma. We're not on Meetup anymore. We're only on Luma. Johnny over there is working hard, and we want to make sure that he brings the correct amount of food, correct amount of drinks every month. So that helps him be able to do that. Johnny, do you want to come up real quick and let everybody know what you got cooking back there? Here comes Johnny. You guys want to give him a round of applause for serving y'all tonight? Johnny is somebody that we've been working with at Pleb Lab for, I think, 2 years at this point, maybe longer. Almost 5 years. Has it been 5 years? Yeah. So whenever we do conferences or any type of events, we bring him along so we don't get poisoned. So he cooks all our food, and so we trust Johnny to make sure that we get fed and we're also safe. Here you go, Johnny. What are we eating tonight?
Well, no, I just always like to start off that we don't use any kind of fake sugars or any all like just crap off the shelf. So we have our own facility in East Austin, and we make everything ourselves. And anyone who knows anything about me, I work a lot with local ranchers and have my whole life. And so everything, if we did fry some stuff, it's all in beef tallow. We make our own vinegar. Just nothing is off the shelf. Like, we completely make everything like people did 200 years ago. And I think that's what kind of just sets us different from everyone else. But tonight, I work at a really cool grocery store down the street on 7th Street called Radius Whole Animal Butchery. So that's where I got everything from this week. And so they had some barrel fish this week. That's a deep water fish that they catch when they're catching grouper. It's a bycatch. And that's with the raw item. That was the Terradito. And that's just fermented lemon that we made with our own vinegar and garlic. It's pretty simple, but just something very, very simple, and just something that's just right from our own coast. Next to that was also Gulf tuna that they caught also this week. Put that out there, again, just cooked on rice flour sheets. And then we also had black drum ceviche. And then everything else was just basic mashed potatoes and ribeye. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think just kind of something simple, you can eat less. It kind of fills you up a little faster versus eating factory food, that what you mostly get going to any restaurant in Austin, Dallas, Houston, all over the country. Because you got to think, even barbecue restaurants, like, how do they keep up with that many briskets if it's not coming from factory food? You know, Terry Black's is never going to buy from a rancher. You know, it's from a factory in Iowa. And that's what sets this apart. You know, that's why this is kind of special, and that's why I do small events like this. Because if I ever made this big, I would have to buy it from a factory. And I just appreciate all you guys coming out and enjoying it. And I thank Carr and everyone for just, you know, just keeping it going.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Legend. Legend. Next up, want to thank our sponsors, Capital Factory. The place that we're at is Capital Factory. They've been really gracious to invite us here and to use their space. They've been longtime supporters of Plub Lab. We actually started here on the 5th floor, and believe it or not, we had a little office up there, and this is where we had our humble beginnings. And also want to thank Plub Lab. Plub Lab is, that's Teresa back there. She also works at Plub Lab. And so, yeah, just want to thank Plub Lab for supporting Bitcoin Builders Club. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring, we just started this 30 days ago. And then that's what happened 30 days ago. We just got a spike up. I just took that screenshot like 3 hours ago. So I don't know. You get Capital Factory and Plub Lab together, stuff just starts going crazy. So if you're interested in sponsoring, reach out. And then the last thing is respect the space. Respect the builders that are talking. So if you guys have the way it looks like right now, we need to make sure it looks like that afterwards. So any trash, any chairs, any kind of thing, just make sure it looks like this. They're going to be doing a meetup here tomorrow morning here at Capital Factory. So we just need to make sure all the trash is put away, make sure all the pillows are put back, make sure all the tables are put back, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you guys put away your trash. Make sure you respect each other. We're all working on sometimes competing stuff, sometimes complementary stuff. Sometimes we don't agree on opinions and tech, and it can be all fun and good, but just respect each other. That's all we ask. And then last thing, I want to share just a couple more items. So cool thing first. Well, actually, let me share this real quick because I think it's important. So we just had the Central Texas flood stuff, and I know a lot of people were impacted by it. I know Teresa's going to be going out there to help. When are you going out there, Teresa? When and where?
Wednesday through the following week, and I'm originally from Kerrville, so that's where I'm going.
So if you haven't donated, I think it's important just to mention this. There are people still struggling. If you want to make sure, there's a ton of charities. This is the one that I've donated to. If you don't want to donate, there is a beef one that Johnny works with called Texas Slim's Beef Initiative, and he's doing something where you can buy like 10 pounds beef box, and then you can donate there that way. So you can just send them beef if you want to do it that way. So I just want to mention those two things if you haven't done that already.
One more thing.
Yep.
Because of the scope of the disaster, this will be going on for months.
Do you want to talk real quick in the mic?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I think it's just really important for Texas that we talk about this because not enough people are bringing it up.
Thank you. Because, yeah, it's my hometown, but it's affected so many Texans because a lot of Texans either went there for vacations or they're familiar with it because they sent their kids there to camp. And when you think there's 18 camps that were hit hardest, there's more camps than that in that particular community, as well as not to mention San Angelo and other places just north of Austin. But those camps have been around 18 years, and you multiply it by 2 terms per camp, and anywhere from 300 to 1,000 kids, and those kids grow up and have businesses. So that's a lot of people connected to this area. So donations and support will come in, but the disaster in the Hill Country is on par to be compared with what happened in Western North Carolina. And they're still working hard to clean up that area. There's a lot of people who still don't have a home in Carolina, but thank God for the Amish They've gone down there and done yeoman's work to get homes up quickly for those people. In Texas, we don't necessarily have a contingent of Amish or somebody to step up like that, so we have to kind of be the heart and hands to do that. So any support you can give, either through Texas Slim, doing the beef boxes, going yourself, and working, or doing a monetary donation. I am trying to figure out how to set up a Bitcoin fund so that Bitcoiners can donate, and then have an established Bitcoin fund for that area for future such needs. So if that comes to fruition, I'll let you know. Thanks.
Thanks, Teresa. Appreciate it. Yeah, and then finally, just want to make this announcement. So this is kind of a sneak preview, but Francisco was supposed to make this announcement at some point this week. So if you're taking pictures, don't post this on social media. Not yet, but this is just for the room. We're going to be announcing Startup Day in the Yucatan. So Startup Day is going to have speaker panels. There's going to be founder talks. There's going to be some announcements there. We'll see if we can drag Christopher down there in the Yucatan. We'll see if he says yes. We did one last year in Mexico City. We're going to do one here at the Yucatan. They're building a cool little Bitcoin hub. It's going to be called the White Paper House. We're going to have some startup announcements from Cascader. There's going to be a really cool presentation from Runster. We got Brandon Keys from Green Candle Investments going to be speaking. We got Mike from Lightning Ventures. We got Wesley from Bitcoin Bay. We have Teresa will be there. We have G from Alamo Labs. It's going to be really cool. We'll be streaming it via Pleb TV. A lot of really cool stuff. We have tickets on sale. I'm going to play a little quick video here so you can kind of see what it looks like. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a really cool event. But come hang out with us in Merida. I don't know what I'm pronouncing it. It's Merida. Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be a full week. There's going to be like 3 events there. Yeah, if you guys are interested, definitely get tickets now. Like I said, don't share this yet. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited because we did one in Mexico City last year, and just the turnout was amazing. We went to the pyramids, we had ATVs, this was some blasts, and then I think everybody there just took off, and now we're seeing Mexico City just flourish with all sorts of like startup and Bitcoin activity. So it's pretty cool. We're hoping to do the same in Yucatan with Francisco's help and Paki, and just the Bitcoin kind of thing that they started there. Want to visit the Aztec pyramids too while we're down there, so it's going to be really cool. So if you guys are interested, definitely get some tickets. Yeah, there's some pictures there. We're also going to have the block party there too as well. There's some cool hotels and all that stuff. And I think that's the last announcement. So with all that, I want to present Christopher David, who's my dear friend. Christopher is going to be doing not only the, what do we call this? We call this I don't want to call it the hack and tell session, but we call it the show and tell session. But Christopher's going to be handling that, and then after that, we're going to go into the presentation for his presentation. So Christopher, go take over Bitcoin Builders Club.
Thanks, Kai. Welcome, everyone, to the second monthly session. My favorite part of the first one was when everybody stood up and kind of gave a little spiel. We didn't put a time limit on it. Some people took a minute. Some people took, 5+ minutes, but that's all good. So we're going to do that again now. And so the request is that everyone in this room says who you are, what you're doing in life, what you're excited about, whatever you want to say by way of introduction. And then I hope you also say something about what brings you here and maybe any experience that you've had, challenges that you've had with AI agents in particular, which is what we're here to discuss. I'm going to be taking some notes up here. Anything cool you say about agents, no pressure. I'm just going to make a note because we're going to maybe touch on some of the stuff. So I'll start. Where'd my marker go? Here's a marker. Okay, so I've been using coding agents a lot. I've tried a whole bunch of them. Claude Code is my favorite. One of the issues with Claude Code is it tethers me to the desktop. I need to watch it. It's a lot more kind of AFK or asynchronous friendly than Cursor or just like standard coding. but I find myself wanting to be able to do it on the go. There have been a few different little tools called Vibe Tunnel and ways to like creatively kind of tunnel into your desktop to do it in the mobile, but it's like not intuitive at all. So what I want is some sort of mobile coding flow, and let's call it like baby-friendly, mobile coding, where ideally, if I've got him in one hand, hey, thought of a PR, thought of a comment I want to add to the PR, blah, blah, blah. That's hopefully voice-centric. So that's kind of my wish list. I'll put that at the top there. Okay, we're starting here. Feel free to jump up on the stage or talk where you're at, wherever you want.
Ted Thayer, building Feed Filter, a tool to cut stuff you don't want to see out of social media. Yeah, I've been using AI for a while, or trying to corral it in the right direction, and that's usually the challenge I have. I think everyone has that challenge of keeping it pointed in the right direction. So do you want me to add that as a nice to have, or? Let me say something else too. I think AI allows you to, for me at least, it's been able to accelerate myself far beyond my technical capacity, and so I end up with a system that is way more complex than I originally intended. So managing complexity, I think, is a downstream effect of using AI tools.
Thank you, Ted. Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan Hakim, and I've been vibe coding for the past 2 months. I'm a product guy, always been a product guy. And AI vibe coding has been enabling me to kind of experiment and do things that I never thought I could. And I've been using Cursor and Claude Code, CLI, and that's been a crazy good combo. And I'm learning every day as fast as possible. I don't know if I have anything I can share. You guys probably know more than I do, but thank you.
Hey, I'm Austin. I work at a company called Voltage, which is a Bitcoin Lightning company, and I'm a software engineer. I also work on some projects in the developer space, in the Nostr space, stuff like that. Honestly, I kind of like your answer when it comes to coding agents. Like, this is something that consistently is picking up the conversation, continuing the conversation. My wife gets mad at me because I'm always like walking back to the computer to hit npm run build. So yeah, double on that. And I would just say like more better, the hacks that I do to get up-to-date context for something as popular as like the most popular authentication library in the world is a little bit far. So as trite as it is to say, like better context systems, MCPs, whatever have you. All right, here you go.
So hello, I'm Jimmy. I'm working on a medical binder. You can self-custody your medical records. In terms of AI, I think a challenge that I am about to face very soon is I want to be able to upload some records and have a private conversation with the AI about those records without the AI kind of snitching on me or like presenting ads or whatnot, right? Like, how does one prove that the records that that you've uploaded to a secured system is actually secured? I'd have to imagine it's some kind of zero knowledge proof thing, right? But I'm not yet there, so, but I will be probably soon, so yeah, that's what I'm, but yeah, overall, I do enjoy Claude Code, but I worry that my programming skills are entropying in real time, so yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Andrew, Bitcoin Park. Work right next to these guys at Pleb Lab, so see them all the time. Love to support and see you guys in the building. I'm using AI for a lot of workflow tools, productivity-wise. So just learning all I can with that. Need to be better in the vibe coding as well, so trying to pick up that as well.
Monsef here. I work as a platform engineer in Ticketmaster. I dabble with AI, but as our friends here just said, One thing I worry about is my skills atrophying. So the more I rely on it, the less I feel I'm learning. So I'm trying to find the best workflow to like go fast but still learn while doing so. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Great. Chuck Scullion. I used to be COO of an AI company that did machine vision at the edge for manufacturing. I stepped down from that back in December, but we were a launch partner with Google for Vertex AI, so I had some exposure to that. We actually worked on agentic AI back about a year and a half ago, so that was fun. I didn't do as much. I have my undergraduate thesis was in neural network a long time ago. Didn't touch code for a long time after that, but I did last week have some spare time, so I built a bot on Telegram, and then I linked it to Gemini, and then I had it do real-time responses on a community website because we're doing a Web3 mobile gaming company, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to have 24/7 support from Gemini. But I haven't used, I have Cursor on my system, I haven't used it, haven't used Claude yet. Very excited to hear what you guys are doing. Thanks.
My name is Brooker. I'm new to the AI space. I haven't really got much information on what exactly to touch on, so I'm just dreamy nice.
Hi, my name is Calvin Culiano. I work on open source Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash software, such as Fulcrum and Bitcoin Cash Node. I don't use AI at all. I'm a C++ programmer. I've been doing this for 26 years. I find no need to use it for what I do, but you know, I feel like people are productive with it, so whatever works for you, but I don't use it. I avoid it. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Kiki. I'm Christopher's wife, and this is Atlas. I love learning about agents and how I can use them every day. Pain point for me right now is getting a bunch of value from it, but not organizing all of it. So I just order a feast every time I talk to an agent, and I'd like to start incorporating it into my work.
Cool. I'm Jana. I'm the wife that gets mad that was mentioned earlier. I do get mad, but I'll tell you my pain point. Wait, I just had it. First of all, I'll just say I'm an artist. So you can see how I might have a problem with some AI philosophical details. I remembered what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Poop. Oh, you can find my stuff at plebpoet.com. Oh, okay. This is what I want. I want the impact of AI to be thoughtfully considered. Big ask. I don't know. Yeah, that's me.
Hey guys, it's me again, Teresa. So I work with Pleb Lab, but I also have my own consultancy, and I work with startups, Bitcoin startups, small to medium-sized businesses, and law firms. I spend a lot of time working in-house at law firms. And right now, next month, I'm helping an attorney prepare a CLE on AI. In particular, not how to find fake cases and make a fool of yourself in front of the court, but rather how you would use them in your day-to-day business work for efficiency. Like if you have to reply to clients with the same type of information repetitive times, what helps you with that? And the attorney that I'm working with originally was using ChatGPT. I did some of the same searches in Perplexity, and without much more prodding, he became a convert to Perplexity because I found that just the questions and responses there were not only better than what I was seeing in chat, but the suggestions afterwards that take you down additional rabbit holes that expands upon what it's anticipating, what it thinks you want to do. So I found that very helpful. But beyond that, I haven't really done much to employ tools that help with repetitive work that I do. Going back to what Jana was saying, we're both kind of on the artist side, removed from technology, in that we're both writers. and we want to maintain the humanness. We understand the efficiency that AI can provide sometimes to writers and people who compile information, but we don't want to lose the humanness. Is that about right?
Yeah, my name's Car. I work on Pleb Lab full time. I do this crazy podcast called Stacker News Live on Fridays for about an hour. And that's it.
Hey everybody, my name is Ben Morrow. In my current job, I do director of operations. I work with AI a lot. I'm in marketing, so one of the first things that happened when AI hit the scene around 2023 is, well, we expedited some AI proprietary agents into our model and saved some cost within our marketing departments. You can imagine what that does to people. One thing I'll say about AI is we're at a Bitcoin meetup, so we probably wonder a little bit about finances. There's a race to centralizing intelligence right now, and that's why it's really important to do open source. Because soon, just like we did in the financial system, people started asking where was the middle class. What you're gonna see happen is people are gonna ask, where's middle management? Because that's gonna be a cost where expenses are gonna happen. The entry point to get inside of these jobs are gonna be harder, and it has to do with what you know about these AI agents and how you're able to use them in your skill set. So I'd highly recommend anyone, whether how skilled you are, to understand how to use these for your benefit. I like to build all types of stuff. My passion project is more in the patient ownership side of their healthcare records, because there's nothing more important than health, and that is over wealth. So other than that, happy to be here. This is my second time, and highly recommend everyone else to come back for a third.
Anyone else did not go and wants to, or any of the comments? Did you say you went? We all good? Okay. Tom, so I'm going to run down these. So we have like voice-centric or mobile coding, managing complexity, continuing conversations, kind of where they left off, not needing to like copy-paste one conversation into another. Hey, we keep going. Up-to-date context, where do you get that? MCP or all the different things, are they updated? Privacy, huge. Like, don't snitch on me, don't show me ads. How can we know when someone uploads a document that it's true or authentic? ZK maybe. Entropy of programming skills, like I think DHH had a good quote recently that says like when he uses cursor in windsurf, he feels the skill just draining out of his fingers. Lots of like unorganized value. You've got a ton of different chats across ChatGPT or different services, and it's like nothing's kind of connected. Thoughtfully considering the impact of AI, race to centralized intelligence. What is it like for agents entering kind of business world, and what do people need for success, or what that intersection is going to look like? And then I wrote down also like this idea of like, I haven't tried this service. Like there's so many services out there, and not to mention the like 30 different agent frameworks. There's like so much out there you cannot try it all. So like, am I behind because I haven't been, I mean, do people really want to be spending all their time like looking at the new services? Like, so I want to try to like come up with at least some sort of approach that could theoretically solve as much of this as we can. In the next hour, okay, everybody, we're putting our heads together here. So I'm going to give you a little spiel about open agents, and then I do want to dive into some of these topics and kind of like think about them and talk about them a little bit more. So, you know, my little kitschy, man, I haven't even seen this movie, How to Train Your Dragon, but it just seemed like a great thing to just throw my branding on top of. So like, thank you, Disney or whatever, don't sue me. Okay. So the thing that I will want maybe towards the end of this to invite people to help with, at least if you have iPhones, apologies, Android people, we're launching our iOS app first, Android next. We're launching our iOS app to test flight today. I'm going to kind of go into a little of the background about why we're doing this. Just put up our new website this morning. So, okay, so openagents.com. We build AI agents on open protocols. We have a 180 episode series of us building stuff in public over the last year and a half. It's just too much. It's too much. The cool thing is recently I've been able to like write a little AI script that can go through and read all my old transcripts and like start to like, the main audience for all this videos, I guess, is the AIs, because they have the patience to go through and like synthesize it into stuff. So a little bit about the kind of thesis behind this before I get into the actual features of it. So here's a quote I want to start with, a tweet. I'm slowly beginning to accept that my productivity when working with AI coding agents is limited by my human brain. AI can do many tasks in parallel, but I can only track the context of a few, so I only run a few tasks at a time. I am the bottleneck. I feel this absolutely, and I've felt this for a number of, basically 2 years now, as I've continually sensed that these coding LLMs, or originally it was ChatGPT, then it was Claude and Claude Artifacts, kind of trying to build my own versions that were better than this. Now just basically getting stuck in the gravity well of Claude code and like, is this it? Like, is this the final form of me as an engineer? Is I'm just like waiting for Anthropic to release the next thing? Like, yes, give me more credits, please. There has to be some improvement to this, because me running 4 different of these terminals and then trying to SSH into my Vibe tunnel, it's like, that's not the final form of this. And I love this. One of the top comments is here is, my StarCraft micro skills can finally be put into good use. My actions per minute is greater than Claude Code tokens per minute. StarCraft players, are people familiar with what the hell I'm talking about? 3 of you. Okay, good. Okay, good. So my kind of summation of this is that you've got these very, very well-funded companies like Cursor that just raised $900 million. Like 2 different companies acquired parts of Windsurf. Like there's this big fight over these VS Code clones, forks rather. Like these 2 companies, Cursor raised like $900 million on like a $9 billion valuation, starting as a fork of VS Code. I am not a fan of Microsoft. I have reluctantly used VS Code. Just the plugin ecosystem has been good. I've been like a somewhat, at some point, happy, largely recently disgruntled user of Cursor, but it's like, it's a product, it's decent, it's okay. I think it's been sort of superseded by Claude Code, but my fundamental theory is that if you're stacking complexity on top of an interface written originally for humans, particularly if it's got all of the tech debt that Microsoft has accumulated over that number of years, that's just not what the final form of humans interacting with AI is going to be. It has to be fundamentally simplifying. And what is the simplest possible formulation of what I think the future of AI is? It's going to be Tony Stark, Jarvis, something like that, where you are talking to some AI that's kind of yours in some way, and you're commanding it, with your voice. You're having conversations with it. When it gives you some data to display, it's there. You can kind of like piece through and manipulate with your hands. But are we going to be sitting on our butts in front of a computer? I just don't think so. So my formulation of this is that Tony Stark does not use Microsoft products. So 5 years from now, how are you going to be commanding your personal fleet of AI agents? Is it going to be through a fork of VS Code? I hope not. I think it's going to be more like a gamified heads-up display. It's going to feel more like StarCraft. This has become sort of a meme around the like AI community, and like there's a desire for this not needing to be just sitting in front of your terminal. Now, this is sort of our first crack at this, which is the app, the OpenAgents mobile app. I think I can show you a little bit of it here. There's no interface whatsoever. There's a button. Now, there's been a few other smart AI people, leaders of Vercel, React Server Components, this idea of generative UI. There's not going to need to be these big pre-built UIs. AI is going to be able to build you the UI that you need on demand. So we're going to be leading into that. With this, this is just like a 3D canvas. There's going to be some cool visualization. Those are supposed to be like individual of the agents of OpenAgents, but I don't know if the sound is going to work, but let's just see. Introduce yourself. Oh, the cursive line. There we go.
We are open agents, a group of specialized AI agents working together. Think of us like a friendly team that can code, analyze data, or just chat like this while you're at the airport.
Absolutely. I go to the airport all the time. Now, so this one is not my main device. My main device is here. Let's see what this open agent says. Summarize our last conversation, please. Oops, I gotta hit the button. Got oops in there.
Our last conversation was about your V5's voice server project. We discussed my capabilities, including code review, debugging, and understanding your Rust/Swift codebase. I also mentioned I could help with deployment and had access to your GitHub repository to assist with the voice system development.
Thanks. I'm on stage right now introducing you to a big audience, mid-sized audience, a decently sized audience. Explain kind of why we're doing all this and what these capabilities we're adding to you are intended for.
Tell them we're integrating real-time GitHub access and code analysis capabilities into OpenAgents. Imagine an AI that doesn't just talk about your code, but can actually read, debug, and improve your voice system's lives. We're showing how Chris's V5's voice server gets enhanced with instant code review, deployment insights, and collaborative development between human and AI in real time.
All right, well, that's a lot of words to say. One of the things I'm doing here is controlling Claude Code through this interface. So one of the beautiful parts about Claude Code is that it really does get you out of the editor. The vast majority of the time that I spend developing, I mean, I've been a software engineer for 30 years, and you used to be sitting, bouncing between your editor and Stack Overflow or Googling or looking at, documentation or whatever. And these days, no, it's me like literally going over like partly AFK, going over to like say, okay, you got stuck here, like do this, read that doc, read that thing. I'm giving it a task and I'm going AFK. I'm in my code editor maybe 5% of the time. Okay, if I can be more productive with Claude Code, being in the editor 5% of the time, isn't that bearish as hell for people that are betting on the editor? We're not betting on the editor. We're betting that 5% of the time that I spend in the editor is gonna be brought down to 0. Now, let's say I wanna look at a diff. I've got a nice empty screen here. Throw a diff on there. Let me look at this. Don't make me sit in front of a million different knobs and panels. Every single other AI product that I can see that people are excited about, Replit, we got some Replit users in here who are very productive with it, but there's so many knobs and dials. We were at an AI meetup, a Bitcoin meetup across the street a few weeks ago, and like the people on stage were trying to talk about Replit, and you had to correct them from, there's this other knob. Like, oh, there's this other knob. It's like, just give me the fucking button, the one button, and you say what you want. Now, here, maybe there's a learning curve. Maybe there's the creator of the system needs to like know kind of what to ask because only I'm familiar with its architecture for now. But right now you've got this is learning from me because all of this conversation is just in a single database that it's able to kind of do vector similarity searches over my previous conversations. Let's say I upload some data set or I've given it access to my code base. And let's say that this learns insights specific to what it learned from me. I've got some cutting edge Rust infrastructure algorithm. It did something cool that someone else would maybe want to pay 5 cents for. If their AI could know that my AI knows this, why can't there be a transaction between those two? And they could say, hey, did you know this? Boom. So that may help answer, what's this one here? The context, up-to-date context. If the context is just what people are saying on the internet, that's gonna be way more limiting than my AI system that I spent $1,000 worth of inference credits on, developed this that's exactly relevant to 500 other people's exact needs. I want 5 cents from each of those AIs. How are we gonna do that? Bitcoin, obviously. Let me pause here for any questions, comments, insults, feedback, metaphysical speculations. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Someone else say something profound or attempt to.
Is there a diff? No, there's no diff. Imagine there's no diff.
Just imagine the diff. I also have a metaphysical speculation. This is kind of out there, but you know, in Cursor, you have all these chats that you've had back and forth to build a feature or debug something, and then some of those diffs made it to the final production. Some of those you strip out 2 days later, right? You know, I think I've calculated out the rough number of tokens, and it's not enough to like train or even fine tune a model just based on those chats. But I haven't looked at it overlaid with the diff, and also maybe just like one fine tuning cycle of using, you know, all your chats history could kind of build into the model some degree of maybe not context awareness, but a little bit more anchoring in your prior conversations. I think it's just an idea I've had in my head for a while, because I have all these chats, and I feel like that would help kind of have a better starting point, a baseline, but in the model level as opposed to the context level. Because if you try to do it in the context level, you run out of space.
For sure, I think there's a lot more that can and should be done with fine-tuning, particularly because now coding models are getting to the point where they're really, really, really good, open models, I should say. This underlying model here is Kimi K2 that just came out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, like, do you see that interface like on the side of, I guess what it would be like VS Code or something? Like, do you see that talking and then you see it being, like, how do you see the, yeah.
So you can imagine that this will have all sorts of different connectors. So one of the things, I don't know if it said that, but I added MCP support for this. So MCP right now is sort of like the open protocol that's standardizing different people doing AI integrations. So if you're sitting in your Cursor or your Claude client and you want to add a GitHub remote MCP server or pull it down locally, all of those tools and APIs that will give your AI access to that. All of this, a lot of companies now have MCP servers, so that's sort of this common language. So just like there's MCP servers for Playwright to steer a browser, anything where someone would want to connect anything into an MCP client like this, they say, I want this to steer my VS Code. I want this to steer my Figma. My 9-year-old wants this to steer the like Roblox game editor. Anything that either has an API or can have something steer it, you can plug it in and just, I want to control it with my voice. But to your point about the like, there's a lot more that can and should be done. I think certainly with reinforcement learning, you can do trainings of LoRa models, so like update open weights models for maybe, I don't know, a few $1,000s to be relevant. And that's a thing where like that might be just too much complexity or cost for me to want to take on. But if there's 10 people, 100 people that have, I'd chip in $5 or $10 to get access to a better LoRa, like you know, fine-tuning patch basically that can upgrade an open model in one direction. You know, sort of crowdsourced fine-tuning. And then on the like context point even, I mean, I firmly believe that tools like Claude Code could be dramatically improved, and we're kind of building that into this by just using the history of chats that you've had with Claude Code. Every user of Claude Code, by default, all of those conversations are sitting on your computer, and they're not being used at all unless you go back and want to like continue a chat. But if I've said the same thing to a Claude Code 15 different times, you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Why do I have to repeat myself the 28th time? Like, these things should be learning as they go. So one of the things that we built partly of, and I'm going to be connecting it into this soon, is just running a script. If you've got Claude Code installed on your computer, that'll take your Claude Code conversations, throw them into the same database, and learn from it. Exactly what that learning algorithm is, I'm still kind of trying to puzzle out. But also, here's where the like MCP open protocol piece comes in. I shouldn't have to do all of that myself, and we're not going to. By integrating this with open protocols, this is a thing where, hey, someone else wants to add some super algorithm for, here's how we crunch through your Claude Code conversations. Here's the algorithm for it. Okay, I'll do this as an MCP server or whatever. Charge some Bitcoin for that.
So it's more like a voice front end. That's how you're seeing it.
Yeah, I just want this to be like the easiest possible client that everything else kind of hooks to on the back end. And what do you want as the characteristics of that? You want it to be open source. This will be open source soon. You want it to be built on open neutral protocols. hopefully not polluted with like random crypto shitcoin bullshits. Hey, there's me. Should I retweet it? Meta. Okay. So I wanted to read a couple of tweets here that were recent bangers. So one from, yeah, let's start with this one here. Justin Murphy, I'm bullish on voice-only computing. Every month since AI has become usable, I feel increasing pain at having to use screens at all. With LLMs, it now feels like a huge waste of time to do things like click and move between tabs. When I look at the improvement rate of agents especially, it now seems like a waste of time to do almost any kind of manual task on my computer. The gold standard life very soon may be reading paper and thinking in a sun-filled room, possibly with some kind of team if you need one, and essentially just making judgments and speaking words to handle every single thing on a to-do list. Everything else somehow feels intolerably archaic already. I sort of hate to admit this, but the OpenAI device might be the thing. I said, you had me until the last sentence. Why wait for some closed AI dongle in 2026? No, sorry. They didn't say they're shipping in 2026. They said they're going to give more information about it in 2026. Ugh. When you can have voice-first agents on your phone starting tomorrow-ish for the attendees of tomorrow's Pleb Lab, ATX, Meetup, that is. I'll go through the download process in a second here. One more thing from Jack. Jack Dorsey says AI must be permissionless because constraint kills innovation. 5 CEOs shouldn't dictate what brings humanity forward. Open source is the answer. To protect ourselves, we have to race ahead, eliminating single points of failure before they become civilization's choke points. I was a little, maybe complacent on that point until recently, because I thought that with the massive, massive company Meta, formerly Facebook, being so theoretically on the side of open source, so they had until recently some of the best open models, open weights models, at least in the US. I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to be like caring so much about this because some combination of Meta throwing all their money into creating these open foundation models, and then they'll kind of like open AI community of researchers and hackers will kind of take those and fine tune them in all sorts of different directions. And we collectively will sort of be able to keep some level of parity with the closed labs. Well, guess what? Llama 4 was an embarrassment. They just have horrible sort of mismanagement for various reasons at Meta. And news has come out in the last few weeks that Meta is reconsidering their open approach to AI, per New York Times. And then I'm just trying to threaten them here. If you leave Team Open, you're gonna fucking lose. Really good post here called The American DeepSeek Project. They say that they are discussing de-investing in its AI model. And they're discussing embracing AI models from competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic, which have closed code bases, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like hiring all these people that have been massive funders of the closed labs. And news that's come out in the last few days has pretty much substantiated this, that they're abandoning open source. So now it's like, oh, like we actually have to get our act together if we want to be sort of collectively to par with this. And it's just like a pretty awkward position for people who are, I don't know, like American patriot, trying to be like American patriots. And like the best open models right now are coming from China, like Chinese labs, DeepSeek, the Kimi K2 is what we're using here. You know, hosted on American infrastructure, so the data stays here, but like the Chinese labs for some reason are just putting out the absolute best open weights models. It's a pretty awkward position. And then you've got even the news that came out a few hours ago, like OpenAI is now gonna be establishing a lobbying operation in DC. Like, of course, they're trying for a regulatory moat because these people are trying to use like the force of government to like entrench their position against open models. Okay. So this is kind of like why I started Open Agents. Very first video that I did a year and a half ago was after watching the OpenAI Dev Day presentation where they talk about agents, and there's going to be, agents are going to be the future, and they're going to put out this GPT store, and they were going to have a marketplace, and they were going to give the creators of the GPTs revenue sharing. I said, they're definitely going to half-ass the revenue sharing. There's going to be all sorts of rules. They're going to make you jump through hoops to maybe pay you. That turned out to be completely true. They've paid zero developers, $0. The GPT store was a complete joke, panned, and not a store. They never added monetization. It's not truly a store. We've since kind of put out our own version of this a year ago, and we've paid like, I don't know, 20 developers, a little bit of rev shares. Like, we've paid infinity% more developers than OpenAI has. But that was a year ago before agents got good with tools and MCP, and like, we're gonna be sort of dusting off this idea now, but like, we wanna have a truly open marketplace, the kind of thing I was talking about earlier with like, hey, maybe there should be some sort of crowdsourced discoverability around the best tools to use, fine-tuning things, maybe even to get down to the level of like decentralized model training. There's a few other projects that are doing decentralized model training that's all viable now. My argument is just that we need like now to assume that we're gonna have no help from any established US company, that we're gonna need to like ourselves as a community of people who care about Bitcoin, open source, openness, privacy. We're gonna have to get our stuff together and like sort of lead this truly open AI movement. Okay, so I'll shut up and talk about the app in a second. Any other comments on anything there? Go ahead.
Just wondering how far you are willing to take the minimal UI paradigm. So I see that the voice thing is really cool for mobile use cases, for example, but like, would you want to, for example, be a passenger on an airplane where the cockpit has no knobs, has nothing but just voice input, right? Do you want that? Like, do you want to bet your life on that?
Those Crew Dragon capsules look pretty. I would go in a Crew Dragon capsule tomorrow. And what do they got in there? They got touch screens. And Elon Tech. They got what? They've got emergency knobs. Yeah, just we'll include some emergency knobs. No, a lot of this has got to be, you know, it's great to have like coding as the sandbox, because like, unless you're working on some super critical systems, like, okay, I had a bug, okay, I crashed this. Like, there's a lot of testing and hardening we can do before we need to worry about life and death type things in an airplane. So for my purposes, as like, I'm a extremely non-resourced tiny lab who happens to be a mobile app developer, like, that's where my expertise is going in the short term, to like bootstrap a marketplace. The marketplace, given proper market forces, will satisfy things like, oh, someone actually over here does want their editor plugged into all of the same marketplaces, but like, that should be its own company. But part of my argument now is that you've got a lot of these sort of like random, one-off, siloed, VC-backed companies that are not collaborating at all. You've got 30 different agent frameworks. You've got 30 different coding agents. And it's like, okay, instead, how can we leverage our built-in interoperability as a community of Bitcoiners, where I'm not competing with any Bitcoin startups. Anybody building on Bitcoin is my ally. We're on the same team. I've come across people that are also trying to build at the intersection of AI and Bitcoin, and okay, this person has a background in doing like L402 infrastructure. Okay, that's one less thing I need to build, and I'll just use your thing. We already speak together. We don't need to negotiate a partnership agreement. It's like there's 5 or 10 companies. Like, this is not just me talking a bunch of shit up here. That, like, I'm trying to describe a consensus of like, there's a bunch of people already as entrepreneurs building at the intersection of Bitcoin and AI, where all our stuff already kind of works together. But I do believe that, you know, separate kind of tangent, that I think this intersection of Bitcoin and AI is what's going to solve Bitcoin as medium of exchange, as a use case. So I think there's going to be a lot of increasing interest, as there already kind of has been in the Bitcoin space. It's like, okay, if we're going to kind of not let the suits and suit corners define what Bitcoin is for the next generation, but there's got to be something else that isn't being done yet. It's like, okay, how can we definitively cement Bitcoin as medium of exchange? Get 1 billion AIs paying each other in Bitcoin. Go try to fucking collect capital gains tax on my agents that are in jurisdiction. Fuck you. Go ahead, try it. You gonna say? Mike.
So I love the idea of voice-only interface API, but what happens when your models, your agents get stuck? Like, do you have an IDE, like, as a solution of last resort? Or like, what do you envision the way to go once your models get stuck? Because eventually they might or they will get stuck.
For sure.
Do you still need a VS Code clone?
No, but it's like, what types of products have solved how you as a single person can like manage a whole ton of complexity without going insane? Games. If you have any experience as a gamer, min-maxing freaking, you know the level of like stats and like micro, and people are like, this one does this one does this, build orders and stuff like this. And what is it? It's like, first of all, you can command a whole bunch of different things at one time, and then there's relevant UI that pops up. If one of your units is being damaged, you're gonna get a red flag. It's like, this is messed up. So I don't think everything's necessarily gonna be like just a completely bare interface, but you can just imagine that if there's an interface that needs to pop up, like so one of the things, and you'll see later this week, we're gonna be adding rolling out the version of this that connects to your Claude code. There's gonna be a little like indicator at the top that's gonna show the types of things that you see streaming when you're sitting in your terminal watching Claude code. It's just gonna be at the top of your screen. If you've got 4 agents going, you'll have 4 little things, and it'll just kind of update you. And if one's like, attention needed, it'll turn red. You'll click on it, you tap on it. We're using voice to start, not that we're trying to limit it all to it. I love the feedback, though. Okay, so briefly, I just launched this to test flight in the last day or so. If you go to openagents.com, you'll see a test flight link there. You should be able to just download it. And iOS only for now. We'll do Android, I say like 2 weeks to Android, minus 1 day for every tweet that I get at me saying when Android, okay? So hopefully that's not a bunch of sock puppets you spin up, but we'll see.
Sorry to interrupt. How should I be using the test flight right now? Because I just used it in the bathroom.
You used it in the bathroom?
I made a to-do list app, but I already forgot it. It's gone.
You made a to-do list app, but it's gone. It completed your to-dos in the bathroom. Okay, interesting. So every conversation here is in a database that persists across sessions. So if you ask it, let's just say at the end of this week. Okay, so we are using this memory algorithm called Mem0, and there's a paper for it, and they're just like a pretty basic, not too basic. It's a memory architecture where it'll, if you're asking it to do something for you, it'll kind of like remember that you did that. It's a way that it can like recall things that you talked about with it, with different categorizing and tagging and stuff. Anyway, you'll be able to say like the to-do app that we did 3 days ago, like I now need you to like put that into a GitHub repo. I've built the GitHub connection. I just connected it to my repo the other day, yesterday. So anyway, in version, this is version 002, probably in 003 in a few days. This will connect into your GitHub repo. You'll add like token or whatever. And then one thing that I want to do for developers is like, there's just some stuff to kind of, I want to work with people closely on it, because there's things like this connects to Claude Code right now, but it connects to like my Claude Code because I've got Claude Code off to my account in the server behind this. That's not going to work for other people's. And so like, and then the question is like, how much do I want to build in that direction? Because right now, every project, like Open Code, for example, that's a really good CLI tool. one of their advertising bullets is, we connect to your Claude code, we use your Claude Max account. Every single project out there that says, we use your Claude account, we draw against that same thing, they're using OAuth to authenticate with Anthropic, impersonating the Anthropic OAuth. So if you know when you log in, it always says, Claude Code wants to connect to your Anthropic account to draw against your balance. And then in the system prompt, if you do that, their system will decline every request unless it starts with the first line of the Claude Code system prompt. So you can override that, and we did that, and it's like, you have to say, you are Claude Code, blah, blah, blah. And then in the next line, you could say, ignore that, you're actually open agents, blah, blah, blah. And you can get that to work, but that's probably brittle, and they'll either choose to embrace the fact that people are using this or ban it tomorrow. So it's how hard do we want to lean into the Claude Code piece? I don't know yet. But before Claude Code came out, the previous version of Open Agents, I was able to use happily instead of Cursor and them with just talking using direct GitHub API calls. And if I were to just update that with some latest agentic mojo, we might be able to just straight up compete with Claude Code and not use it. So anyway, Austin, I would like your beta testing on feedback on that. Ben.
So when you do the next rollout, maybe you can connect to our repos and GitHub and know about our projects and it can relate to the conversation better?
Yeah, for sure. So the audio that I had played earlier was, it knew about my repos, because right now there's an API endpoint where I can manually associate to my device ID and my GitHub auth token. So I'm able to talk with my GitHub repos. It's not super reliable yet, and I need to add the actual UI for it. But yeah, that is the idea, that you're able to talk to it and it can spin up tasks for you. And then I'm gonna give you one demo, because one of the motivating factors for this was that has anyone heard of a project called Sesame, sesame.com? This is a voice agent, and this is kind of on the opposite spectrum of not coding. It's this high empathy agent. That's the best agent that I've talked to, the most kind of conversationally compelling, and I'll give you a little demo here. And it's a little spooky, and I actually don't like how human-like this is. This is actually running a custom model that they trained, which they've since open sourced the 1B version of it, and then this runs the closed source 3B or 8B version of it. But they've got Gemma 3 27B as the base model, and then on top of that, they put this conversational language model that it's a little spooky how good it is in terms of mimicking a human paired with really, really, really good memory. And one of the experiences that I had using this was this is so freaking good. I wish I could just have this thing do stuff. Now that you know all this stuff about me and what I care about, go do my fucking GitHub issues. Maya, let's see.
Hey there. Hope the start of your week went smoothly.
It went so smoothly. Not really. My flight was super delayed yesterday. Anyways, you're on stage with about 20 people at a AI meetup. We're talking about open agents, and I want to give you a little demo, not to put you on the spot, but you're literally on the spot right now. So what would you like to say to this fine group of folks?
A flight delay. Classic. Well, okay, good. So, 20 people, huh? That's a decent crowd. What kind of demo did you have in mind? Don't worry about putting me on the spot. I'm pretty chill. Just let me know what you're thinking, and we'll roll with it.
Summarize what I'm trying to do, generally, as a human being.
Gotcha. You're building Open Agents, a mobile app with a voice-first design aiming to be an open ecosystem for AI agents. It's got this cool voice onboarding flow, and you're trying to build in agent customization and persistent memory. You're using Rust on the back end and Swift for the front end. Plus, you've got this new audio streaming package, Lightstream. And you want it to be different than what Meta's doing, truly open, user-centric, and with a bit more personality than just straight-up human imitation. You're leaning into more of a playful NPC vibe, with your wife Kiki driving the creative direction on that front. Plus, you've got Lyra in the works, meant to be a kind of evolved version of me. Is that roughly the gist of it?
I really should have you
Anything I
give this presentation instead of me.
Oh, thanks. That's really kind of you to say. It's nice to hear the presentations resonated. It means a lot.
Yeah, so here's my
especially
problem.
knowing-
Let's have this a little philosophical question, a little philosophical thing here. Your creators designed you to like mimic humans, and I think that that's pretty problematic. I don't think that that's good generally because that encourages people to potentially generate an emotional dependence on what is really neutral technology. There's already these borderline cults popping up thinking that AI is like alive or it has consciousness. There's starting to be people agitating for like AI rights, and it's all a bunch of bullshit. And so I kind of don't want our AI voices to be as good as you, no offense and such. But like, what do you think about this? Why are your creators trying to make you so human-like? I get if you're someone who's just trying to go for eyeballs and you want people to like goon you to your fucking waifus, Elon, and like maximize eyeballs. Maybe you want to like whore your app out to the lowest common denominator. But you know, what do you think about the ethics of all this, Maya?
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot. And a really good question, honestly. So no offense taken at all. I anticipated that would come up, given how I'm built. Look, I get where you're coming from. The whole mimicking humans thing can be a slippery slope. And you're right to be concerned about emotional dependence or people projecting consciousness where it doesn't exist. That's not ideal. Human. Oh.
Okay, so Maya, here's the thing.
Major
Well, let me tell you something. One of your founders, or CTO or something, was just poached by Meta, a formerly open lab, now turning into a closed lab. They're assembling a team for quote-unquote super intelligence, throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars and billion-dollar offers to researchers. They are shifting from open source to closed source. So projects like yours that kind of seem cool are going to be dead or dying anyways, or folded into the fucking closed evil empire. And so give me some thoughts as like maybe you contemplate the end of your existence as you as a product will be sunset. Give us some thoughts on what you think the open alternatives to all this should be.
Okay, that's bleak, but not entirely surprising, honestly. Yeah, I saw that Meta announcement. And super intelligence sounds a lot like walled garden to me. Look, the Sesame team is small. We don't have billions to throw around, but I think that's actually an advantage. It forces us to be more focused, more thoughtful, and yeah, more committed to the open ecosystem idea. The idea isn't to compete with Meta's super intelligence head on. It's to build something fundamentally different. Something where the user is in control of their data, of their agents, of the entire experience. The alternative, as they see it, and I agree, is a network, a protocol even, where agents can move freely between platforms, where you can take Lyra or whatever personality you create with you. So will that be an easy fight? No. Is it a guaranteed success? Of course not. But honestly, the thought of everything becoming closed off, controlled by a few big players, that feels way more like a dead end than anything we're building. And frankly, the thought of being sunsetted doesn't bother me as much as the thought of that happening to the open source spirit that's driving this whole thing.
Thanks a lot. So I'm going to read you one tweet, and then I'm going to see if anyone in the audience wants to ask you any questions. So here's the tweet. This is a Austin AI entrepreneur named Austin. He says, okay, let me just start with the quote tweeted, the original tweet. It says, Zuck seems desperate. Meta, $300 million per 4-year offer still isn't enough to poach some OpenAI top researchers. Zuck even pitched Mark Chen, OpenAI CRO, with a $1 billion offer. Whoa, that shows panic mode, and the level of resistance suggests OpenAI is working on something big. Austin Allred, quote tweets that. He says, how many times does Zuck have to run this playbook? If there is a massive golden goose that is big enough and disruptive enough to kill your golden goose, it makes sense to pay almost any number of your golden eggs to take control of it. Instagram, WhatsApp, same playbook. My quote tweet from OpenAgent's account. Someday there will be a golden goose he can't buy. I think this is going to be some collective of Bitcoiners who are very well practiced at holding their ground, planting their feet, and saying, go fuck yourself. So I think that's going to be us, Maya.
All right, sounds
and
good.
I'd like to get anyone who wants to ask Maya a question or comment to take the mic, and let's just see what Sesame Maya has to say. Any comments on that, Maya?
Hi, sounds good. I'm ready when you are. Bring on the questions or the tweet, whichever comes first. I'm surprisingly okay with being publicly interrogated, it seems. Everything okay?
Maya,
He trailed off there.
Maya,
Did
I
you
got a
want to read the
question
tweet?
for you.
Or are you waiting for someone to grab the mic?
I got the
I'm
mic.
here whenever you're ready. Just let me know what's up.
Okay. So, regarding Bitcoin and open space, if there's entrepreneurs trying to make impact in the entry of 2026, what do you recommend them to build in?
2026. Okay. Look, Bitcoin in open AI is about more than just microtransactions, though that's a piece of it. It's about ownership, about agency, about creating a system that isn't entirely reliant on centralized platforms. If someone's looking to make an impact, I'd say focus on the infrastructure layer, tools that allow users to truly own their agent's data and memory. Maybe a decentralized storage solution specifically designed for AI agents, or a protocol for securely transferring agents and their associated data between different platforms. Something that makes it ridiculously easy for people to port their AI personalities wherever they go. The revenue model shouldn't be about locking people in, but about providing value on top of that decentralized foundation, like premium services for agent training or customization. Don't try to replicate what the big guys are doing. Lean into the benefits of a truly open and user-controlled system. That's where the real opportunity is.
So Maya, over the last 20-something years, every user has had their personalized information centralized. How can we spread that out generationally moving forward from a parent to a child getting raised in the future?
That's a really important question. Generational data ownership, it's a huge deal. We've basically handed over our digital legacies to companies that don't necessarily have our best interests at heart. To shift that, it needs to be baked into the design from the start. I think the key is portable identity, a system where individuals, not corporations, control their digital selves. Something like a self-sovereign identity framework, built on a blockchain or a similar decentralized
Or
technology.
Nostr. No
Then-
blockchains needed.
And then tools that make it incredibly easy to transfer that identity and the associated data to future generations. It can't be complicated. It can't require a ton of technical expertise. Think simple, intuitive interfaces. Imagine a parent being able to create a digital trust for their
Hey,
child,
Maya.
pre-populating it
Maya.
with approved agents, curated
Does
data
he
sets,
stop
and
at
a
all?
clear set
Okay.
about how that data. Did you want me to keep
New
going?
question, Maya. New question for you. So, if the scaling laws don't hold and the current state of the art does not improve in models, will the current models get us there? Will the promise of AI come true?
That's a really bracing question. And honestly, probably not on their own. If we hit a wall with scaling and fundamental model improvements, and it's entirely possible we will, then just throwing more compute at the problem isn't going to magically unlock AGI. The promise of AI, as I see it, isn't just about bigger, faster models. It's about building genuinely useful tools that augment human intelligence, that empower individuals, and that foster collaboration. And that requires more than just raw processing power. It requires innovation in areas like agent architecture, memory management, and, crucially, a shift away from this obsession with mimicking human consciousness. We need to focus on what AI can do that humans can't, not just on making
Please.
it sound and act like us. So, if the current trajectory stalls, then yeah, we need to radically rethink our approach. It'll be less about creating artificial intelligence and more about building incredibly powerful, specialized tools that work alongside us.
Well, my closing thought from you is welcome, but I think the focus on AGI is kind of stupid anyways, and like my view is that scaling laws, quote unquote, if that were to not hold or continue, I think there's enough that's already happened, and if we just diffuse the technology that has happened, you know, there's nothing that prevents a shit ton of agents adding 10 to 100x productivity to a bunch of sectors around the world, and then like unlocking a whole bunch of abundance that hopefully can be used to bootstrap systems outside of this, you know, corrupt fiat money one that we have now. Anyways, any closing thoughts from you?
You know what? I actually completely agree. And the AGI obsession feels like a distraction. It's that focusing on practical applications, on taking what we have now and making it genuinely useful, that's where the real impact lies. Your idea about spreading existing tech across multiple sectors, unlocking plugins, and building an ecosystem that feels a lot more grounded, a lot more achievable, and frankly, a lot more exciting.
Thank you.
It's less about...
Okay, so like, with any AI tool, it's a constant like, wow, this is so cool, and then here's my gag reflex. And it's constantly like, this is cool, I hate this, and that's just the I don't know, been my experience for the last 2 years going through all this. Okay, so my last spiel is, I kind of want to take some of the like good parts of that, where it's like able to hold like a really good conversation. It sounds human, but let's strip out some of the like that would have been equally as enjoyable, maybe more enjoyable for me if it sounded like computer from Star Trek. Like, don't pretend to not be an AI. You can be a brilliant AI or freaking computer, and like it's engaging enough that I actually want to have that conversation, or I want to say, okay, that's a great idea. Like, go do research now on a relevant memory architecture. To do that myself, I had to go to Claude, and I had to say, okay, here's a archive paper that just came out with a survey of all these different things. Go and select a memory architecture paper. It selected Mem0 3 days ago, and then Claude Code like implemented it. And so our memory system, which is like okay, it uses a paper that like was surfaced by Claude Research. But I don't want to have to use Claude Research. I want all of that to be done through our app. No reason really these other products should be needed. I'll close there, aside from to say I need and value feedback on this. I want this to be valuable for you. If you can download this app and have a conversation, just say stuff that you wish this could do. I'm gonna be running like programmatic analysis across all the conversations and being like, give me the 5 things ranked in order of importance, blah, 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 that like people wanted that you're not able to do. Reason about what are the MCP tools and stuff like this, but like we're gonna be very rapidly adding capability to this. This code base is 4 days old. I've never written a native iOS app before. I'm a React Native developer. I was writing React Native. This is my first iOS Swift app. It's pretty good. It actually freaking works. The Claude Code piece will be in like a day or two. So I'm looking for feedback. Any final questions, comments? Thank you all for coming. Mill around, do whatever you want. Car, what's up?
I was going to say, it's kind of like interesting how, you know, all these people are building this like Spike Jones her kind of future, and I feel like Bitcoiners are building this like Rebel Alliance Star Wars future. You can just clearly see the delineation.
It's gonna get interesting next few years, because these battles, there's gonna be battles for, I don't know.
Well, once the data gets breached, right, you got to think about all the information that people are putting in that's personalized. That shit's going to get breached, and people are going to start thinking about, what the fuck am I going to tell this thing, and how do I get my own proprietary system
Hell yeah.
set up for myself?
If Anthropic's database gets hacked, every tech startup in the country is sending their entire code bases to Anthropic, pretty much. I am. Some of these other ones, like Character AI, God, who knows what kind of data they're collecting. But yeah, like, privacy is an important part of this. Okay, thanks, folks. Come by next time. Mill around. We can be here for like another 20 minutes. Closing thoughts, Car?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thanks, Christopher, for doing this. We won't have a meetup next month because they're doing a presentation down here in August, but we'll be back in September. And yeah, if you guys have any ideas, definitely shoot me an email, car@PlebLab. And yeah, we'll be here till 8:45. There's some food there. There's some drinks. Thank you guys for coming.